let's go ahead and get to our next topic. The top 5 dormant IP we want to see come back from Nintendo.
I mean, this is like an easy. I'll let Paul.
Well,
Paul already got
easy.
this.
Wait a
He's
second.
got like 5 of them behind
Easy.
him.
Easy. Well, then you should go first, Lamb. What 5 are you bringing back?
No, I said Paul should go first because he's got like 5 dormant ones behind him. No, I'm just kidding.
All right,
Get it, Paul.
Active.
you ready for this?
Yeah, hit us with them.
One of them actually combines possibly 3 or 4 games in one, and that is called Nintendo Extreme Sports Racing. You start off in an airplane and you hop out and you skydive down, pilot wings like, until you land onto the top of a mountain. Once you're on the top of the mountain, you snowboard down and you're going through a snowboarding course. The very last bit of the snowboarding course, you're going off to a ramp and you're landing on a jet ski. And you're jet skiing through the ocean waves and through this little island, getting your way back into the island, in which you go off of a ramp and you land onto your motocross bike. And then you're going through the mud and the forest and the dirt kicking up and stuff like that until you reach to the end of the lap. So it's doing Excite Bike, it is doing 1080 snowboarding, and it is doing Wave Race in one. All 3 racing games that do 3 different things, one going through mud, but traversal is primarily from back to front, going over hills. One's going from back to front, but traversal is going up and down over water physics. One is going from back to front, but primarily down, going over white bumps of mountain snow. So the overall game isn't creating 3 engines, it's creating 1 engine, but how the impact lands is slightly different in, are you going over mountains? Are you going over water, which is the most difficult one? Or are you going over mud, which throws some visual effects, and the mud's not that different than snow at this point. But the traversal, the same way. I just threw in the Pilot Wings one as a fun thing. You could play this game in the races as these grand races where you go through 8 different courses of island hopping, or in this same mountain of going down the mountain slopes, going into the water, and then going on the motocross bike back to a final finish. And that would be cool. Those are your 3 different laps, long laps, right? Kind of like Mario Kart 8's got its long laps, but this is 3 distinct ways of play. Or you could play independently in just the motocross stages, 1 by 1 by 1 by 1, if that's your jam, or just in the 8 different wave race specific stages, 8 different little island hopping kind of things, or 8 different snowboarding stages, different slopes of the mountain, different terrain, maybe a different mountain, etc. That would be a really cool game that is different enough than Mario Kart. You don't throw Mario characters in them. Maybe you have some kind of costumes, but kind of like how Splatoon wasn't Mario with squirt guns, Splatoon became its own IP.
Mm-hmm.
These 3 could kind of exist as their own extreme sports racing game, and that's why I called it the very clever Nintendo Extreme Sports Racing. And whether you're bringing back the old school characters or some new ones or a combination, I think that would be different and really neat, really fun, could exist on its own. It's not F-Zero, so if they bring back F-Zero, Nintendo used to have, I listed off 3. And Pilot Wings even had some speed-oriented things, but it wasn't a racing game. Nintendo used to have a lot of racing games. They don't have it anymore because they don't want anything to compete with Mario Kart. Mario Kart's so successful, but I don't think this would take away from Mario Kart's sales, because Mario is so freaking big that
everyone on the earth already owns
there's
it.
a draw, there's a desire, a love, a want for Mario Kart 9 or 10 or 11 or whatever you want to call it. If you call home circuit 1 and live 1 or whatever. The next Mario Kart is going to sell well, and people want it, and people love those Nintendo characters. But this satisfies something very different. It's not a Forza. It's not a Project Gotham Racing or a Gran Turismo. I like the heck out of this, but I'm also biased. I think we're all biased to liking Nintendo in some capacity, but I loved F-Zero back in the day. I thought the original N64 one was so good. I liked Blue Ocean a lot. I liked 1080 snowboarding a lot. Old school Excite Bike, but really the N64 one, so good. Excite Truck, also good on Wii, but not as good as Excite Bike maybe. But how do you bring them back in this Mario Kart world? This one thing and the different challenges, and like as you're going and online seeing someone go down that mountain over there while you're on this part of it, this live breathable island, whether it's big enough that it could be one island or small different sections so that you've got different experiences. But those are three right there, or unless if you want to include a Pilot Wings esque dropping down to the mountain kind of thing, just because that would be kind of cool to like maybe you're gaining some extra speed and like the speed boost as you're going through rings from when you jumped out of the helicopter or airplane to the mountaintop. That's giving you a boost for when you start. Like all of it's so gameplay focused, and Nintendo's so gameplay focused. That'd be dope. So that's 3 or 4 right there, possibly, but throw it into one game. Next,
Like it.
Kid Icarus has been gone for so long that it is Nintendo's answer to, or another answer to the Zelda genre, because now with more horsepower, imagine Pit in this open world flying around, not just gliding, or if it's got these corridor flying segments, kind of like Kid Icarus Uprising, which was such a good game that only a few million people played, that really could come back with dual analog stick controls. But that's a game with the voice acting and the story of a Fire Emblem, but with a cool character with sword combat and bow and arrow stuff like from a Legend of Zelda game. But it could be big enough and open traversal as a Xenoblade. Like Kid Icarus could exist as another one of those big Nintendo characters, but he's not. The big ones are, you got Mario, Splatoon, Inklings, you've got Metroid's Samus Aran as an iconic character, despite the game's not selling on the best end. Donkey Kong, and then like Fox McCloud should come back. I think Kid Icarus should come back, and then that's my last one. My fifth final one is Star Fox. 100%. Even though I saved it for last, I kind of did it for a reason. I love Star Fox, and so many people love it because the very few that we got were so freaking good. Star Fox 64 left an impact on me for life. That pairing with the Rumble Pack, going to air shows that summer and seeing the Harrier come off and go off at real air shows and playing Star Fox 64, the two are just ingrained in me for life. I used to take my dad's beeper, and I take his beeper in the summer leading up to Star Fox 64 coming out. I put it in, call it real quick, and be like, oh man, this is what Rumble technology is going to be like. I can't wait. And I call it again. Like, that's the stuff I do. And, it was just amazing. So
I love it.
Star Fox, it is Nintendo's Guardians of the Galaxy. And I don't know why it's taking so long for them to realize it. Like, you've almost got to take a little bit of a page out of Insomniac Games' book and imagine the next Star Fox being like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, where it's a lot of Fox McCloud on ground in the Lilat system, taking orders from General Pepper, communicating back to the Star Fox base, having banter back and forth with Peppy, Slippy, Falco, etc. You're going on different missions. You're collecting different power-ups, different blaster, laser cannon, stuff that you've seen in Smash Bros. But then you're flying off into Arwing, and then you've got this badass music going through the Lilat system, and you've got these classic
do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll.
It could even just be like a pilot sim. Like you could just take a note from what's that? The new Star Wars pilot sim kind of game. Like
Starlink did it really well.
Yeah.
So you got to have some on foot stuff because I would buy it for $60, $70. 100%. I don't care. You give me a 15 world shooter that's corridor from front to back and a couple of wide, all range mode. I'll buy it because I love Star Fox. But to capitalize on the cool factor of these talking cartoony characters, because a lot of people love talking animals. I mean, look at Ninja Turtles, look at Ratchet and Clank, look at a lot of movies that come out. Talking animals are cool, and like the Fox McCloud characters are awesome. Yeah. With a cool style, whether it's a puppet style or an anime style, you launch that thing along with the new show. A show would work so well. A new amiibo line, man. Forget about this R-Wing having pointy edges, dude. And I've got pointy edges on some of these guys in here. That's how you do Star Fox. Online, 4-player, co-op, having the ability to go with 3
Dude.
friends through the story mode at the same time for the flight missions, online aerial dogfighting versus mode.
Dude, I hope Doug Bowser's listening right now.
It's the coolest thing that they gotta do. It's how you make it.
Can I make a
big.
suggestion, Paul?
Uh-huh.
Because I love the idea, and I'm on the same exact page as you. I've been wanting a Star Fox that takes from Ratchet and Clank, maybe a stronger emphasis on space battles and space travel than
gotta have the
Ratchet and
flight.
Clank, but still having that kind of like traveling this galaxy, different planets, a little bit more character and story driven, maybe than we've typically gotten in previous Star Fox games. But I'm really glad we didn't get this on Switch, because I want Switch 2 to have a speaker on the controller, and I want to hear the characters'
like a
voices
Wii
talking
remote.
in the comms. Yeah. Come in, Fox. There's a bogey on you.
All you have to do is sign up to the Nintendo Switch Online voice chat app on your iPhone or your Android, and then
my
you too could participate
Paul,
in this.
you brought up the idea of the TV show or the game promoting the TV show or vice versa, right? And then there's a case study. There's a very recent case study that is very possible and very it can work with Cyberpunk. The Cyberpunk anime.
Oh my gosh.
I think Cyberpunk Edge Runners single-handedly brought that game back to life for like a while, because the initial launch of Cyberpunk was a very big disaster, unfortunately. But they patched a lot of that stuff, and the game is it's very good, it's fantastic, the DLC is great, but a lot of people who were in that initial wave lost out, like stop. I know I was one of them. I revisited the game after watching the anime, and I was like, oh, this game is fixed, and I'm actually having a good time with it. Because my first I was streaming it. It was so bad. I could not play through it. But the point is, though, it's very you do a Fox or you do like a Fox anime or Star Fox anime, right? Or any kind of television show that has like a little bit more deeper meaning than just like kind of how they did the Mario movie. Like, not saying that the Mario movie is bad. I'm just saying the Mario movie is very surface level. You do something that gets that really hits that deeper kind of audience. I think anime would be a beautiful style for that.
Just like an epic space opera.
Yeah. Well, and you could also use the, oh my God, what is it called? It's on Disney Plus. There's a series. I think I brought this up on the podcast before. There's a series of Star Wars episodes. They're all independent of each other, but they're all done by different anime studios.
Visions.
Star Wars Visions. It's on Disney Plus. It's very good. Definitely recommend it. But you could do something like that, and I think it'd be a really successful series. Not necessarily doing the separate episodes. I'm just saying like the different anime styles you could do is kind of endless. Anyways, I found it really interesting that you brought that up, Paul. And I think that's an excellent marketing strategy for sure. And again, I hope Doug Bowser is listening.
That did it, and to your point, Favlam, that didn't just work for Cyberpunk. There was a massive boost in sales for Fallout 76 and growth in Fallout 76 users. A game that's not as
I didn't even think about that, and that's even
after
more
the Fallout
relevant.
show.
Yeah,
because it just happened. So another great point. But
I
Paul, I love your Fox idea. It's our Star Fox game idea. I want it so bad that it hurts.
That game, like Mario and Zelda, are my two favorite franchises, and Street Fighter, like right there is my top 3 overall. But Star Fox, like if I had to pick a game that please be on Nintendo Switch 2, it's that one that I, envision. Because part of that is because I know there's going to be another Zelda. I know there's going to be another Mario. I am dying to see next gen high fidelity 3D quality beautiful looking Mario in this amazing world, because Nintendo's going to just be the cream of the crop when it comes to I hope you got that. No one laughed. Okay, that's okay. That's okay.
I got it.
Okay. They're going to be the cream of the crop when it comes to these models and these shaders and being closer to looking like the Mario film, and Zelda with, what kind of art style they're going to go with, animated again or Wii U Tech Demo 2011 again. But I know I have faith in those. So not that I don't want them any more than I do, but I really want that Star Fox, because It's such a good underused IP that
Absolutely.
really could do well. I mean, yeah, it's Nintendo's Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's
Yeah.
a hot squad. That is a cool squad that exists on their own. Some people like Hulk, some people like Spider-Man, but some people like the X-Men.
Yeah.
The X-Men, that's like a Star Fox. It's a team. It's a team-based thing, and
Yeah.
there's strength in those kind of like this is small enough that I could get in, big enough that wow, the universe is vast. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it off the chest.
The pitch. I know he's got it out there. We need to clip this. We need to mail it to Doug, and then the game. We'll see it. We'll see it on Switch too. Maybe it won't be till 2030, but we'll see it.
Oh wait.
Could I go through
Paul's
my
like,
five?
I'll wait all my life for this thing. I'm ready.
Can I go through my 5 real quick? I don't
Do
have
it.
descriptions for all of them except for the last one where I have a vision for. But these are just ones that I'd like to see. Maybe you guys have a little bit more to add other than Nintendo just bringing these games back. We were talking about EMEO earlier. Disappointment around it not being a true Nintendo horror game. Eternal Darkness is, it's got a cult following. It's really neat. It had that sanity system in it that we don't get in horror because I believe they trademarked that system.
They did. You're
yes. Right. So if Nintendo was able to just get the rights to use that and somehow put a team together to revisit or even do a full-blown remake in the way that Capcom has done with Resident Evil, I think that would be sick. The next game on my list, or I don't know if you guys want to add anything to Eternal Darkness.
I love the pick. I love the game.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it come back. So totally on board with you.
Hell yeah. Another one. Earthbound. And I'm not just talking Mother 3. I'd love to see a modern stab at the Earthbound series. I love RPGs. I'm a huge fan. One of my most anticipated games for this year. Not a Nintendo game, sadly. Echoes of Wisdom is my most anticipated game of the year, just to be fair. But probably my second is
I can guess it.
Metaphor Refantasio.
Yeah,
from the creators of Persona 5, 4, 3. I think Persona has really made the kind of modern day setting RPG really cool and neat. And thinking about Nintendo kind of applying some of the things that we've seen in that, some of the social mechanics. I mean, they bled that stuff into Fire Emblem with 3 houses, and that was sick. For me, that's the best Fire Emblem game. So I'd love to see them do a modern take on Earthbound and see all the cool kind of social elements and neat little things that they'd come up with in today's gaming age. Next one, this is kind of an odd one maybe, but Sin and Punishment. The last one we saw was on the Wii, but I don't want an on-rails Star Fox game. I want what Paul Gale pitched. So for on-rails and Nintendo to do something fun and experiment with, I'm choosing Sin and Punishment. Just a cool little game. I know it's a lot more niche, a lot less people play it, but if they could do something really cool with it, something neat, maybe it's even a budget title, but I would like to see that one come back. I had Star Fox on here, but I'm not going to go over that one because Paul did. So instead, I'm going to swap it out last minute for a NES Remix 3 or SNES Remix. Now, we just got Nintendo World Championships coming out, and I think that's really cool. But if I had to pick between the two, I would have loved an NES Remix 3 or a Super Nintendo Remix, and just see like all the wacky things that they could do revisiting those games that we grew up with, or some of us grew up with at the very least, and played, and adding some online cool multiplayer elements. So that would be really fun. And then my last one, and this is the one where I kind of have a pitch for it. And I feel like this might be a little bit divisive because I feel like a lot of people won't like this pitch. But this is just me. F-Zero. However, I would love to see a brand new take on F-Zero. And this is something that I pitched to Andres, I think like 2 years ago on his podcast. And he thought it was really cool. He said, I think it should be a separate game, but he thought it was really cool. And I feel like Captain Falcon has become more famous than the F-Zero series because of Smash Brothers. We all know Captain Falcon is a bounty hunter, kicks ass, but we never get to experience that in games. So I've
bounty hunter, but yeah, actually, I didn't
there you
know
go.
that, but that's cool.
Fair enough. See, there you go. So I would love the idea of a game that's built where it's a mix of racing and a mix of the bounty hunting. Think like this big cyberpunk kind of sci-fi open world Forza Horizon, where you're just out in this big open world, entering races, entering Grand Prix, but it kind of has a little bit of that Batman Arkham City, Arkham Asylum element, where you're countering and kicking ass, and it has a little bit of like cyberpunk noir storytelling. Maybe when you're driving, it has this cool narration overlaying the setting where it's Captain Falcon talking about his last case or his next case, or some broad sitting in the bar meeting shady figures. And there's this really cool dark noir cyberpunk bounty hunter setting that ultimately leads to this huge Grand Prix corrupt corporate takedown, whatever. I haven't fleshed out the whole story and stuff, but I love this Forza Horizon, the idea of this Forza Horizon open world, just randomly entering these crazy street races and taking out thugs and criminals and corrupt whatever. I think it's really cool. And the cool like counter system, and actually seeing Captain Falcon punching and Falcon kicking his way to victory.
Totally. There was a cartoon show back in the day, but didn't really focus on Captain Falcon, but it was called F-Zero GP in like the early 2000s, 2002, 3, 4, 5-ish. But 100% on board with that. Showing his moves, punch, kick. Oh, man.
Yeah, Forza Horizon meets the Batman. I can't say Batman. First it was Batman, then it was Batman. the Arkham series meets Forza Horizon, I think would be sick. So you get those two sides of it.
And maybe you want to play in race by race by race as an option, like maybe after you unlock them, but have the grand game be this grand game.
Yeah.
I have a hard cutoff in about 5 minutes. Mine are more like I would like to see a sequel to. I mean, I guess that's kind of the question, but I have some fast ones. A classic answer, Banjo and Kazooie. We gotta get that. We gotta get that three.
Yeah.
I'll die if that happens.
That would be really cool. That would be a really. I think imagine like a Banjo Kazooie game with the tightness of like Mario Odyssey and like that like speedrun platform potential. I think that would go. I think people would clamor for that. Next up, a sequel to the Pokemon Coliseum game series. I think these are a very strong series. They're very different in the core gameplay loop. All double battles. You're actually stealing Pokemon back from bad guys. So you're like stealing them, but not stealing them. I think there's a lot of cool features in this one that really made this game stand out for me. Double battles do get slightly tiring, but I think double battles are honestly the superior way of like they're more challenging inherently because of the nature of them, and so I enjoy that a lot. Yeah, another Pokemon game, Poke Park. I love the Poke Park series, and I think it is a woefully underrated series. I think the first game is pretty like it's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's like all right. The second game is on my shelf over there, fantastic, and you could definitely 100% do a third one because there's been 3 new regions since the second one. 3, yeah, 7, 8, 9, yeah. So you could easily incorporate a ton new Pokemon, make it feel really good. Yeah, it's a cool game. 2 more. Mario Sports Mix. Really enjoyed this game. I remember getting this for my mom got me and my brother this for Valentine's Day growing up. Very fun. Get all the sports you don't got on Switch Sports or what we haven't made an individual thing about already. But The dodgeball in this game is what I love the most. Dodgeball and the hockey; those are the two most fun ones. Sequel to this would be pretty cool. And maybe that could be a launch title gimmicky type thing for Switch 2. I don't know, just an idea. Last but certainly not least, dude, Nintendo Land fucks so hard. Like
It's
it
so
is
good.
so underrated, and it is a shame that it came out on the Wii U and we haven't gotten a sequel to it because this is an awesome party game. Every game in this game slaps, except for maybe the single player. But even the single player ones are fantastic. Like every game in this game is fantastic, and you will have at most at least a good first impression of. If not, you're going to play Mario Tag. I think it's called Mario or Mario Chase for literal hours. Dude, this game, it is criminal that it does not have a sequel because man, it deserves one.
That's such a great suggestion, Flam. Yeah,
those
the
are
Mario
those
Chase.
Would be my 5, at least based on what I have on my shelf. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that Mario Chase game in there,
Oh
weeks of fun with
So
friends. We'd get groups with 5 of us together and just play the shit out of that game.
I think my favorite feature was the fact that you had a little like selfie cam, like you were a little streamer, but the camera was so bad. So it'd always be this like smudged, awful, like 480p looking disgusting, and you're like pogging out of your mind as you run through the course. Oh, so great. It was awesome. It was fantastic. 100% recommend it. Anyways, I'm going to take my leave because I unfortunately have my day job in the morning. So it was wonderful being on the podcast again. As always, Paul, it's great seeing you. Seeing you Game Bird Classic. I see Thunderstash and Nate all the time, but yeah, good seeing you guys as well.
Good to see you too, man.
Yeah, of course. Only thing I'll plug is I got a YouTube channel, and we just finished. I did a walkathon for Luigi's Mansion. I walked a literal marathon. I walked 24 miles throughout my entire play. I walked the entire time while playing Luigi's Mansion.
Wow.
2.
That's cool.
And we will have a video about that very soon, so feel free to subscribe. Anyways, y'all have a fantastic night, and I will see you guys next time whenever I'm on the podcast.
Have a good night, man.
Take it easy,
everybody. Man. Of course.
Awesome. I can go next with my top 5.
Hell yeah.
I'm ready to go. One was brought up in a super chat. I'll just bring this up quick. From Taker 6 Extended brought up Wave Race and Punch Out. Wave Race needs to come back. It just needs to. It just look. We can talk about Punch Out all we want, and I understand it's been a while, but at least there's been something in the last 20 years.
Right. True.
We need some Wave Race, man. We need it bad. It needs to be on there. How about some Ice Climbers? I feel like Smash really brought them back and made them popular again, and most modern gamers have no idea where they came from.
Dude, I imagine an Ice Climbers that has like a horribly tragic story, kind of plays like Uncharted climbing and cliffhanging, and someone dies and it's like screaming, reaching out. No,
that'd be funny.
It. Yeah. This one is an often requested, never going to happen, at least while the original creator is alive. A new Earthbound game.
Yep.
It's just not going to happen because iToy's got no interest in it and doesn't think it needs to exist. But again, he's not going to live forever, and Nintendo might decide to. Look, you can even reboot the IP if you need to. A new creator. I really want to see it come back. I don't know if it'll ever be what it once was, but it certainly would interest me. I've got one that's a little bit of a cheat because it's like a twofer. It's like a 2-in-1, but it'll make sense. Duck Hunt and Hogan's Alley.
Yeah.
Let's bring back some light gun action. Dude, those games were the bomb back in the day. Yeah, arcade, cool, but dude, that's not where the memory came from. It was the light gun with the NES on your CRT TV. Those games, damn, like they need to come back. Look, they put the Duck Hunt guy, the dog, in the damn Smash game. Let's go. It's time.
Exactly.
Let's bring it back. I miss it. You figure with all of the random accessories Nintendo does, we would just have new ones of these, and no, we don't. So let's go.
Love
Then
it.
one of the greatest RPGs of all time, Star Tropics. Needs to come back.
That's a
Now
cool
there were
pick.
2 of them, and I get it. No one cares about the second. It wasn't that great. But the first one was amazing. Bring it back. Like everyone
cool
talks about
pick.
Chrono Trigger, and that's fine. But Star Tropics hasn't had a game for even longer than Chrono Trigger. So let's bring it back. I'm sorry, I'm digging into the well. That's the point of this topic. It's my well, and it needs to be filled. There you go. That's my 5. I don't know. Well, 6 technically. Because it could be Hogan's Alley. It doesn't be Duck Hunt. Give me a Hogan's Alley. Give me the new Hogan's Alley. It'd be sweet.
All right.
Be cool.
I'll jump into this. So a lot of mine were, of course, said.
Yeah.
But I have some backups in place. So we can have some variety here. So I have to say Earthbound, of course. I love Earthbound. Always have. However, what I was thinking specifically is a Earthbound HD 2D remake. There's 2 games that I'd love to see get that treatment. And that is Earthbound and Chrono Trigger. But since we're talking first party Nintendo, yeah, if we're not going to get a new Earthbound, dude, let's do a HD 2D remake. I think it would be perfect. Next, I want Kid Icarus. I just want it. It was one of my favorite NES games growing up. I still love the game. The music is something that sticks with me my whole life. The Kid Icarus, the title theme, it's just so good. Wave Race, no doubt. I absolutely love Wave Race. And, I agree with you, Paul. I said this actually probably a few episodes ago that I believe Nintendo doesn't release other racing games anymore. They just want to funnel everybody to Mario Kart. And I get their business strategy. I do. I understand it. So I know the odds of getting this, especially a jet skiing game, because I don't think jet skiing is as popular as it was in the 90s and 2000s today. Although I wish it was.
Should be.
It should be. I agree. It should be. I would love to see it, though. And, Wave Race, man, to this day, I feel like nothing beat the way the water physics felt in that game. It felt so good to ride a jet ski. And that's just something that it's wild that it hasn't been topped today. And I know there's not a lot of games where you're actually controlling a watercraft in the water, but there are games, and Wave Race still did it best. I did have Star Tropics on my list. However, I'm going to go with an alternative for an RPG. And we just got this on the NSO for the GBA. Let's get a new Golden Sun. That would also be a really good series for the HD 2D treatment. I think it would fit in real nice. And I'd like more people to see those games, honestly. And last but not least, I guess, again, we're not going to get any racing games. So we're not going to get Diddy Kong Racing, even though I love it. And Nintendo and Rare seem to be getting along, Microsoft these days. I'm going to go Pilot Wings. I really love Pilot Wings, especially Pilot Wings 64. Another one of those games that, if you watch any videos on my channel where I'm basically unboxing new games and going over my game collection, you'll hear in the background Pilot Wings music. It's just so good.
Yeah.
Love that soundtrack. It's classic. And the game was obviously very fun. So those are my top 5 dormant IPs. Love to see them. Would love to see them.
Those are good. I like that. That was good.